Kia ora koutou, this is the Headbutt Messiah TK Cooper, one half of the absolute best in men's combat double Sunshine Machine, and you are listening on Twitch, on YouTube to CCP Podcast.
What is happening, friends of CCP Podcasting? Welcome to Beyond the Bell Live. I am Chris Page. I hope you all having a fantastic Monday afternoon, Monday evening, depending on where you are in the United States. I hope you guys are ready to rock out and have a great show. Shout out. I see you, Goth. I see you, UK Paul. I see plenty of people loading in. If it's your first time joining us, allow me to say welcome. And if you have questions, you have anything you want to ask our guests today, feel free to drop them in chat, and we'll get them worked in as we go. I'm so excited to welcome in this guy. I had the opportunity several months ago to speak with his brother after stumbling into Millennium Pro Wrestling. I think it was for a Beyond the Bell, or not Beyond the Bell, maybe a Inside the Indie show, a full watch along. And fell in love with this product and what they have going on out there. And again, spoke to his brother. I said, "Is there anything that I can do to get my guest today on? Like, should I just ask him?" He was like, "Yeah, man, fucking ask him." All right, cool, I did. Ladies and gentlemen, last night, my guest today literally just became Primal Pro, one half of the Tag Team Champions. Let's not wait any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Mr. Brendan Devine. How are you, sir?
Can't do that. There's no drums. I'm good. I'm so happy to be on. I can't wait. This is awesome. It's so funny. How do we get Brendan on? Send me a message. I'll do it for sure.
Yep. That's exactly.
I'm like Sam Adams. He's doing a commercial or whatever. It's like, hey, you into it? We're doing selling credit cards. All right, I'll do it. Like, we're doing a podcast. Call me. I'll do it.
I mean,
where is it? What time is it?
Right.
I'll cancel my plan.
That's about kind of how it went. Here's some available dates. You're like, here, let's do it here. Works for me. Let's make it happen. And here we are.
And here we are. Made it happen.
It's fantastic. First of all, couple things. Congratulations on picking up a new shiny pair of tag team championships last night, alongside Danny Devine, just the brothers Devine, rocking and rolling out in SoCal. The second thing, and I know that we're about 7 months into this, but congratulations on having a baby not too long ago.
I get all the accolades, don't I? Thank you very much. One thing much greater than the other, but having a baby is good too. No, I'm kidding. I had my first child back in December of last year, so she's growing nice and big, and I'm working real hard to make sure that she continue to eat and live and enjoy life, or not, or cry, or do things that babies do. And then, last night, Danny and I took a trip down to San Diego to Primal Pro Wrestling. We love it down there. And had to teach their tag team champions that they suck and they can't compete with a team of our caliber. There's no other nicer way to say it. They called us out. They're like, "Brothers Divine, we can beat you." And we're like, you can't. There's no way. And then they didn't. I don't tell you. Nice try.
He who leaves with the belts leaves with the spoils, and I saw that picture this morning, and inside did a happy dance because I enjoy seeing guys succeed, especially guys who've given us time that I've been able to connect with, and just see different levels of success. It's always good to see because good things happen to good people, and I'm a firm believer of that, and I think the world of what you guys are doing out there in SoCal, and we're gonna get to some of that. First of all, you're getting shout outs from Goth, who's over in the Netherlands. I think UK Paul's over, obviously, in the UK. Guys, again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them. We'll get them worked in. I like to start at the top and kind of figure out, as we get these things going, where does the love of professional wrestling start for Brendan Devine? At what point in time does it intersect with you?
So, there's two answers to this. I always say there's when I first saw wrestling ever, which of course is probably what is the first thing that gets you into it, and then there's like the when I'm really into it. So the first moment I don't remember exactly the year. It must have been 2001 or maybe 99. I I don't remember exactly what happened. When X-Pac turned on Kane and like DX had joined DX and then like I don't remember who it was, who the girlfriend was, but like they
Tori.
tied up Kane and beat him. It was Tori, yeah. And then they made out and everything. I was very young at the time when I saw that. And my older cousins were really into wrestling, The Rock and Stone Cold. And like I think it was in '99 or 2000. I don't remember exactly, but I remember seeing that, being 6 or 7 years old. I mean, like, this is crazy because everyone's, X-Pac and Kane are crazy looking, so that was something. But of course, that's what I saw. So my parents found out, and they were livid, and they're like, "You can't watch this. This is way too inappropriate. You're so young." And I picked it up again around. Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, I picked it up again around 2006 and 7. So when Batista was running it, John Cena just became the guy, all those, like, I remember, like when people were like, "Oh, Shawn Michaels is back," and I was like, who was he before? I don't know. He wasn't there when I watched. Like, yeah. So that era, that really early 2000s into like up to about 2010. It's all I ever thought about. It's all I ever did. Danny and I were obsessed with wrestling. We had all the games. We got the figures. We fought each other on mattresses downstairs. We always say when we have friends who are like moving, they're like, "Hey, if you have to move a bed like downstairs, Danny and I can do that in like 1 minute because we used to do that at our house, and then we wrestle downstairs." But ever since then, yeah, like we were all about it. We just loved it. And what's really interesting about how we did wrestling, though, was that people go like, "Oh, we watched wrestling and like we were just constantly like doing all the crazy moves and we were like backyard wrestling," and like we did too, but not in like a cool way that you can make a documentary about. We would like write storylines and we would like copy the okay, like this guy will win the Rumble and then he's friends with this guy and then that guy will like be mean to him and then he'll betray him and it'll be this. So we wrote out all these storylines for our made up wrestlers we had. That's what we were into. Like we didn't care about like being able to do, because we were both fairly unathletic when I was the skinniest kid in the universe until like I was 26. So we were really into that aspect of wrestling, like the drama of it. Like when Triple H broke into Randy Orton's house and like broke everything with a sledgehammer, I was like, this is what I want. This is wrestling right here. This is exactly it. When Edge slapped John Cena's dad, I was like, this is peak cinema. This is everything I ever wanted. So I'm a little bit against what most people like to say. They're like, the WCW cruiserweights, and I was like, I've never seen any WCW ever, so I don't know.
That the angle with Kane and X-Pac was really underrated in my opinion. That's the same angle that Kane spoke for the first time. He had the little robotic thing, right? Those little. That's why I asked that question, because it starts differently for fucking everybody, right? Like, and where you get into it in your fandom, it kind of is the springboard for the conversation. Like I was an '80s child, so I was watching Crockett and a little bit of WWF when I could. That story, while people say, nowadays, man, like, who's King and who's X-Pac, go back and watch that shit because it was good TV. It was fantastic.
Chaotic. Everything was, because I watched all of it. I've watched it as much as I can now from that era, just of like from a wrestler perspective, but also from like a writing standpoint of like, how do you make a show as popular as the late '90s WWE was, like WWF like style was, where it's just the show is wall to wall action and the craziest thing, like something that like TV shows wouldn't dream of doing because it's so outrageous and it's live and like they don't even really know what's going on when it's happening. Like how do you hit that like marker, like a TV watching, you're like, yeah, it's so processed, it's so going. But wrestling is like the idea of, were they supposed to do that? Is huge. Is what makes it what it is.
Yeah,
that wasn't supposed to happen, according to you.
But it did. And now,
But it did. It doesn't matter what was supposed to happen. It did. That is the thing. It's happened. Kane spoke. Oh, he's a real guy afterwards. And who knew?
Yeah. Well, when the mask came off, that was a whole nother scenario. Like, I was so
Crazy thing is, that's mostly Kane for me. Because I remember watching it when I was younger, but like when I got back into it, he was mask off.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I guess this is Kane.
Now
he was much better than mask off, I will be honest. But
I remember.
I have a fond memory of Kane, like right when he took his mask off, and like right when he was like, because he still looked crazy.
Right. He's maniacal.
Oh.
When that mask came off, I was just like, oh, really? That's it? Where's the scars? Wrestling
He's normal. He's just a man. He's just a man.
Wrestling Geek 2. Let me come over to you real quick in chat. They dropped a comment in reference to your match last night. So it was amazing. Was so happy to witness it live. The Brothers Divine are tag team wrestling. Oh, that's from Wendy. So Wendy, welcome to the show. Shout out to you.
Wendy. For all you UK fans, Wendy is our number one fan. No matter how far we go or however how popular we become as acts, forever, our number one fan will be Wendy.
I have, I guess we can go ahead and talk about that now. I have already reached out to Wendy. I'm going to send her dates that I have open for July, which there aren't many at this point, but I've got a couple. I want to talk to her. And I want to talk to her because every time I watch a Millennium show, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how full the building is. I hear her and I hear her passion for what she's seeing, and that's the kind of wrestling fan I want. That's the kind of fan that I am. It doesn't matter who's in the ring, who's not. You're cheering or you're booing. You're invested into everything that you're seeing. And I think that it would be a really cool conversation to have with her.
You know, I'm always big on like when people are like too cool for or they act like they're too cool for stuff. I always thought that was kind of weird because like if you like stuff, like just like it. You know, don't worry about like being cool and liking stuff. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. And like Wendy is so unapologetically like she goes into a show and she goes, I'm gonna have fun no matter what. And if some people are like not gonna have fun, I'll have the fun that they're not having, and I'll have it for myself. And I'm like, that's what you should do in anything you do ever.
And she's totally on point with her chants too. Or when she chooses to get vocal, it is like you can't time it better in some instances. I've been watching where I'm invested. You know, there are times where I get quiet because I'm paying attention to what I'm seeing, and then I hear Wendy come out of the blue. Like I asked, who is that? It's Wendy. I said, well, who's Wendy? I need to know her because she's awesome.
Always there, number one fan. We love Wendy.
How as you fell in love through the Kane X-Pac late Attitude Era into kind of the ruthless aggression-esque era of professional wrestling, at what point in time did you decide that, listen, this is something that I want to do? I want to get this thing, I want to try this to see if it's something that's doable, and what's the process look like for you to get started with training, et cetera, et cetera?
So like I had said, was, around 2010, 11, I kind of missed that era a lot. Like when CM Punk was really popular, I wasn't really as into wrestling then. Like when I was in high school, I really had fallen out of it. I kind of tried to find something new, or like you kind of fall in and out of it as it goes. And so I had no intentions ever of being a wrestler. You dream of it when you're like a kid, but then when you get older, you're like, I don't know. So I graduated high school, went right into college. And in the middle of college is when MPW opened up in the city of Moorpark in California, which is a little bit inward from, it's in Ventura County. It's about an hour north of LA, and it's this rinky-dink town, that a bunch of boomers moved to in the early '90s. And they opened up a school there. There was a guy by the name of Master Jason Flame, who was a karate instructor. He has a school and everything, and he got in touch with the owner, Logan X, and said, "Hey, let's open up the wrestling school in Moore Park, and because then it's closer to where I am and where my school is, and I'll help you run it." And so then they opened it up, and then Danny was obsessed with wrestling. Like he never fell out of it like I did. He was always really into it. He got wind of it, and he was there the day it was open. He starts training. He debuts. He's doing shows, and I'm just watching the shows, the MPW shows in Moore Park. And so he's doing the shows, and he is the number one guy because all of us who would go to the shows to watch him were all his friends and his family. And we were there every week watching him do shows. And before we knew it, another guy had signed up and was wrestling on the shows, and his name was Daniel Moon. I'm sure Danny had mentioned Daniel Moon. Mm-hmm. And so Daniel Moon was hanging out with Danny, and they were doing these shows. And as soon as he saw me, he was like, "Why aren't you doing this wrestling with us? Do you not like it?" And I was like, "No, I love it. Like, it's great." And he's like, "Why aren't you doing it then?" And I was really embarrassed because I was really, really skinny at the age of 22. Like, I weighed 140 pounds, and I was 6'1". So I was the lankiest guy in the world. And I watched wrestling, and I was like, I can't be a wrestler. I'm not. That's not how I am. That's not how I look. It won't work. And they were like, "We don't care. You're doing it." So I signed up, and I did some classes with just them privately to see if, like, you can kind of tell if a guy has something in him.
Sure.
And they were like, Brendan, like, I wasn't as physically inclined as the two of them were, but I had a really good. I was good at getting beat up. They're like, I believe it when I'm hitting. Like, your cell is very believable. So because of that, that's enough, and we can get you through everything else. So then I signed up for the school, and I started taking classes with Seth Skyfire, who trained Danny and Daniel Moon, and he was an old OVW guy, so he was trained in the deep South, in the really early 2000s, was signed to OVW, did a couple of WWE dates, and I trained with him, and he was he was the crash course guy for WWE. So when they were like, "Hey, Seth, we have these 10 guys who need to learn how to wrestle in a month," they would give them to Seth in class, and Seth would get them as ready as they could really, really fast because he was so good. And so we took this crash course from Seth, and then I trained for about 2.5 months, and then I debuted, which, as you were a wrestler, that is not enough time to be having matches.
Buddy,
so my first
baptism by fire is what that is, sir.
Yeah, it was terrible. And so I wrestled under a mask for a long time, because I was in my hometown, and the promoter was smart. He knew that people would pay to come and see the local guy. So I wore a mask for a lot of matches, and then he gives me a date. He goes, April 1st, 2017, we're going to debut the Brothers Divine, Danny and Brendan, the brothers from the town. And so I trained, and I did more matches, and I just watched wrestling tapes as much as I could. And then so my birthday is actually March 31st. So the day after I turned 23, we debuted as the tag team. What I didn't anticipate was that the show that we did that day was the same day as we were filming this documentary for, I don't know if you've ever heard of Rooster Teeth. They were an old media company that recently closed down, but they were very popular in 2017. And they had a couple of guys who worked for them, who were their media guys, who trained to be wrestlers. So this show that I debuted on had 400 people there. Oh, and it was like really my first match. And it is terrible. The match is good, but I am dreadful. Because I don't know. It's so soon.
How did you...
But everyone's going crazy about it, and we got this very good response from it. But I watch it back now, and I go like, why did they even let me do this?
You're the hometown boys at that point, the hometown brothers.
Yeah, exactly. But so we do that, and then we're off to the races. And then I wrestled every week since then.
Nonstop. Like
Yeah.
it's
So now I'm great. Now I'm tremendously good, but but then not so much.
well, tag team wrestling. Let's talk about that for just a few minutes because I'm a
Sure.
die-hard proponent of really good tag team wrestling. And I think that it was a lost art for a while. It's on the resurgence. It has been on the resurgence probably for the last 4 years or so, give or take. I'm seeing a lot more really good competitive tag team, tag teams in general in the independent scene. Who were some of your and obviously you teaming with Danny and have been teaming with Danny for fucking ever, your brothers, uh, literally just picking up
Yeah.
tag titles. Who were some of your influences as far as tag teams?
I mean, the immediate answer from when we first started is the Hardys, of course. They were brothers, and they were, they both had the style of I liked Jeff, and Danny liked Matt, and we both kind of felt a connection to them, and they were like these unorthodox, just like two brothers who just wrestled each other over and over again until they finally got to get their big shot and they were going. So like the Hardys for sure. But as we got into wrestling, I'm a big Young Bucks guy. The Young Bucks are from our area. We've wrestled in a lot of the same places that they have, and I've there's a lot of comparisons that I would say that they have to us in just regards of what got the Young Bucks a lot of heat when they were in the SoCal area was they were just these two rinky-dink white church-going boys that people were like didn't like them for no reason other than just like we don't like you. You guys don't look like how we want, so like we hate you. And Danny and I got that response immediately when we started doing tag wrestling in like the local area. People immediately were just like, hey, well, we don't like you. So then him and I went, well, then we're going to lean into that hard, and we're just going to be like, to hell with you guys. So I'd say our two biggest influences really is those two teams. But when it comes to like our real style of wrestling, I watch a lot of the Four Horsemen. I think that how they do cutoffs. Tully and Arn are the best team I've ever watched. So when you watch us wrestle, we do a lot of higher spot level things, a lot of flashy moving around and everything. But when we get into the meat and potatoes of a match and how to put it together, we're Tully and Arn all the way. We love that style of control, work down, use everything you can in a match. Use the ref, use the ring, use the outside of the ring. Use everything you can to get your point across. And I think that's the thing that is the lost art. It's not just a regular match. You have things at your disposal that you don't normally get to have. So why would you not use those in your tag team match when you can't use them anywhere else? Whenever we're training people, we always say, hey, what's the most important part of your tag match? And they're like, working together, tag team spots, this is this. And we go, it's simpler than that. All it is this. Tag. You can tag. You can tag somebody else. If you just focus that, you're golden.
I 100% agree. I think that, and to be fair, some of the best tag team matches, and I'm not just saying this because you're on the show. Again, we watch a lot of fucking independent wrestling. I watch a lot of great wrestling everywhere. I'm on every continent. I would have never, if you'd have told me 2 years ago when I started this platform that somebody on every continent would know who the fuck I am, I'd call you a liar.
Yeah.
I'm really drawn in to you and Danny. Literally 2 weeks ago, I watched a show. It was one of the last tag matches you guys had before the Rumble took place for the tag titles. It was a really good story that was going on between you guys. Forget who the champions were. It was almost 30 minutes, and it was incredible the way that you guys are able to carry this match. It was before the Royale, uh, right?
Yeah. We
So it's
wrestled
probably
the
probably 5 or 6 weeks
for the
ago for you, but a couple weeks ago I watched it for me.
Yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks ago now. Oh my gosh.
It was tremendous. The match was great. The psychology is great. And it's not the first time that I've seen you guys as a team. And I think that look out. Like I put you guys on a pedestal when it comes to tag team wrestling. I would put you
Well,
in
thank
there.
you.
There's a team that recently just came from Australia over here. They're here in the States now. They're in Florida. The Pareas. I would fucking pay a shit ton of money to see you guys hook up with the Pareya because I think the styles would mesh, and I think that's the kind of the beautiful thing about what I do is being able to fantasy book a little bit here and a little bit there because, again, I see so much.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure the match you're talking about is the match with the Unguided we had. We wrestled them for the MPW tag team titles, and so and when it comes to that, is luckily so the Unguided is we've wrestled them a bunch of times. We Matt Vandergriff and Damian Drake are both guys who have been around just as long as Danny and I. Well, Drake longer than all of us, but we've been around for a long time, and we all have the same kind of idea of how wrestling works, and we kind of know hey, we know exactly the style to work to get the reactions we want or to get the point across. And so because the indie wrestling scene is so different than what we do at MPW, it makes it even more fun because hey, we're at this one indie show where this is what the people are going to want. There is no story. The story is just us team versus you team. We're good, you're bad, we're good. We'll figure that out as we get there. And then you just kind of go. Whereas this one had a lot more, build and drama behind it of you have the elements of the audience doesn't like the Unguided because they're these guys who cheated to get these titles and they've done all these other things. And Danny and I are now finally back together after I've been gone for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't wait to see this kind of collision between these two teams that there's the story behind it, but then it's also the layered fact of we've seen both of these teams go really well. So that there's going to be more to it than just the build is nice. That whatever is going to be in the ring is going to be something of quality that will make you go, oh, I want to see it again, or that left me so unhappy or happy. Anyway, if you feel any which way, that's correct. That's the way we've done it.
Yeah, that's.
If you watch it and you go, then damn.
You know what I used to tell people all the time. Times are different from when I was in the ring to now, obviously. But back in the day, and again, I laced my boots for the first time when I was 17 when I debuted. So 23, I was out. 24. I used to tell people all the time, did you get a reaction? Yeah. Did I get a reaction? Yeah. Did the match get a reaction? Well, yeah. It's a fucking win. What's the problem?
Yeah, I said the exact. Guys will come through the back at MPW to me, and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't know, this or that, or this or this, and I go, "Hey, at the end when they got to 3, did they cheer or boo?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I go, "Then you did it. You did it. You did wrestling. You've done it. That's what you're going for."
And I get it. I get nitpicking yourself and okay, what can I do different? Because again, everybody wants to get to the next level. So you kind of have to do that. But at some point, you have to understand that nothing's perfect and nobody's perfect. There's only one, and that's Kurt Hennig. Nobody else is him. So they understand that even when you make a mistake, fucking some of the best matches are the ones that have a minor flub here or a minor flub there. Not everything is going to be 100% perfect. And I tell these young guys that would get on the show. A matter of fact, I was in Orlando Saturday night checking out a show, and had a guy who made a mistake, and he was on my show not too long ago. Came up to me and said, "Man, I'm so sorry. What are you apologizing for? What are you apologizing to me for? Number one, did you hear them? Because they're the ones that you're going for. And if I'm not mistaken, they were booing the shit out of you before, during, and after your malfunction, your incident in the ring."
You did.
I was like, bro, stop it. You're being too hard on yourself.
You're never going to get from point A to B the way that you think you are in wrestling. You go, this is how the match is going to go. And not once has it ever gone that way in my And that's the art, though. That's the art.
Listen, I didn't know the first thing about fucking ad lib until I got in the ring. And then I
Oh,
learned
yeah.
all about it real quick and in a hurry. Shout out to your brother, Danny Devine, pops in chat. Said unguided when we were talking about them. No game unturned.
What happened? You got
Popped in.
Primal Pro Tag Team Champions right
That's
there.
the other half. We got the brothers Divine here, so we've got the complete package. The new Primal Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions, the brothers Divine, I might add. Pump line, better luck next time. When you guys are putting this thing together, now I did I made a boo boo, didn't make a boo boo. I hope Danny don't kill me on this. I got really invested in the story with you and Bucio and what leading up to Summerfest. And the only match that I have seen on that entire card is the Bucio Brandon Divine match. What is going through your mind as y'all are gearing up for this thing? And because the match was fantastic, I thought that both of you guys delivered a very methodically paced match that it looked like everything made sense. Every from bell to bell, every piece fell into place. I thought it was a fantastic match.
Thank you. You know, my big, the thing I always tell myself whenever I'm, putting things together or trying to make things for the show and everything is a quote that I go back to Seth Skyfires. He always said to us, always wrestle right. If you wrestle right, it will always make sense and it will always work. If you work on the basis of, and then we're going to do this, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do this, then people will tune out because this and then this and then this is nothing. You have to have purpose to everything you do, because if you don't, then it's impossible. Like sentences, words make sense together to make a sentence. You can't just put random words together and then expect people to understand what you're trying to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
It has to make sense. So the idea is, is when I left, so in 2024, I won the MPW Championship in June. And what I did with it while I was a champion is I brought in some of the biggest SoCal names came in because they wanted to wrestle me for the championship. They wanted to get involved in MPW because I was in a prominent position. And when guys who are higher profile come in and want to wrestle the champion, it brings in more interest. It brings more eyes to the product. And that's ultimately what your goal is as the champion. I took myself twice as serious as any other champion normally did. My focus was to make MPW bigger, not make myself bigger. And I did all that stuff. And then when I lost the championship and I had to go away for a while, the show was really, really big after I was gone. And the show was so big because of the work that I laid down. So people had heard of us and saw us on YouTube and all these things because they saw this work that I had put in. And then now people are coming to the show and the shows are bigger than ever. And I'm not there to get to benefit from that work that I did. And so when I came back, my point is this. I made the show what it is. I put in the work. I put in the effort with my training, with my body, with my talent, with everything that I do. And Bucio thinks that he can fit in a spot like that. And he can't. He's not on the level that I am on. No one is. They can try. And I want people to be at this level with me. I do. But you got to be that. And Bucio talked a big game, and he couldn't back it up. And that's the truth.
I have Bucio coming on in July. I can't wait to talk to him about this and that whole situation. I think that when you came back, I think you came back with a chip on your shoulder. I think it showed that it played and it rolled in. It rolled its own way, but it is also now leading you to a national championship opportunity. And that's coming up Friday night. Give me some thoughts on where you're at walking into this, because I said it on one of my streams. Brandon Devine is out for singles gold right now. as far as Millennium Pro Wrestling
Yeah.
is concerned. And
I mean, it's said over and over again, the idea of if you're not trying to be the best part of the show, if you're not trying to be the pinnacle of the show, then what are you doing? What is the point? And I'm a big believer in that. And you know, guys like you want MPW to succeed. People want MPW to be more visible and more seen and more sought after, and you need guys who are relevant and prevalent and can show and be that standard bearer. And that is, right now, there's not a lot of that except for me. There's a couple of guys who do it. Dustin Daniels is doing it. He's great.
well, that's to be said.
Cody Prince is a great wrestler, and he's a great friend, and he's a great guy. But he can't do what I do. The national championship, when it was brought back, was something that was kind of we brought it back because we used to have it in the Moore Park Times, and then it fell off in 2019, and then in 2021, the title came back, and Cody Prince won it then. He was the first one ever. And the pressures of being that champion kind of broke him down a little bit. And then I beat him, and I beat him on a whim. And then he was gone forever, gone for like a year. And I brought relevance and importance to that championship. You know, if you're a big MPW historian, you've seen the great MPW national champions we've had. Ray Rosas is Ray Merica, Maximilian Montclair, Danny has had it now since. All these guys, they've had this title, and it means a lot, and it's a big deal, but the only reason that it feels that way is because I had it, and I made it big. I made it the most important championship in MPW. And if you don't believe me, you can watch back those shows at MPW. They're on the YouTube of me when I won the championship, when I lost it, and when I got it back, and how vital that was to the show. I was the champion when I was the national champion, and I'm going to be again when I win it on Friday. And it sounds like to me, because I hear myself talk, it sounds like, who do you think you are? I'm Brendan Devine. I am the show. I'm MPW. I've shown it. I've proved it. And when I'm in the ring, you can't deny it. You watched Summerfest. The only match at Summerfest that I watched was Brendan Devine versus Bucio. And why is that? Because you get it.
Oh, yeah, I do. I know talent when I see talent. And there's a lot of talent.
There it is.
And I'm really, really interested to see how this thing shakes on Friday night. Not that, not that you would ever think this way. What happens if you come up short? What happens?
I don't want to like ruin the show, but like it's not like that. It's not like that. You know what I mean? It's not a come up short. It's not a decision on what if it doesn't go in my way? What if something falls apart? Like if I think that way, if you're driving your car and all you're thinking about is, am I going to crash? What are you going to do?
Probably going to fucking crash.
Well, when you're climbing up a ladder, I hope I don't fall off this ladder. If you don't have it in your mind, it's not a possibility. I really thought that Danny had it in the bag with Cody. 10-0 would have been a nice number, but he, the pressure, I guess, got to him or whatever it was. But pressure is where I succeed. People make the joke, and I joke around with people all the time, and then I go, I don't ever feel nervous, ever. I've never really felt nervous before wrestling matches. Pressure to me gives me the feeling of just amps me up, and when the pressure is on, I perform much, much better than when it's not. And Cody Prince is not a pressure guy. The pressure will crack him. I know that. I've seen it.
Well, you've lifted it off of him once. History has a way of repeating itself.
It's a. I don't want to say there's a spoiler coming with it or anything like that, but I'm very confident in my abilities. I know the show needs a champion that's going to do what I used to do with the World Championship, and because I've been gone for so long, they lined me up for this national championship run, and it's time that title got a little bit more believable.
I'm glad that you said because I was about to say, well, you should be aiming for that big belt, the big championship, the world title. But it makes perfect sense. You have been gone for a hot minute, and
That's what they told me, and it's as much as I'd say, oh, I run the show. I don't run the show technically, right? There are powers that be, and there are people who have been in these lineups who are doing these things. I don't control the outcomes of the show. I just am the reason people pay to see it. You know what I mean?
you show up, you run the show from the time you walk through that curtain to whenever you decide to walk back through it.
Yeah. So people say things like, "Hey, why am I the way that I am?" and blah blah blah. And I go, if you watch my stuff that I did last year, I'm saying the same stuff. I'm just a little bit more angry about it now because it's taken me to, have to act a little bit more aggressive in certain aspects. But again, it's all for the betterment of MPW. I get wrestling. I get wrestling more than most people do because I've been exposed to it. I study it more than they do. And if they say that I'm arrogant or that there's something more to it than that, then they just don't know what they're talking about. And I just can't be bothered. You know what I mean?
I think that there's a line between arrogance and confidence, and I think you're erring on the side of confidence. That's what I used to tell people.
I'm very confident in myself. That's true.
I'm not cocky. I'm just confident. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I could do back in the day. I'd make it happen. So let me again, we're working off of the logic that we were going to have a new national champion. Who do you think on the roster would be a worthy competitor, a worthy challenger, just to say step up and try their hand?
Worthy competitor is a better way of saying it. Is I would fight anybody at all who's on the MPW roster. I was just in a fatal 4-way match where I beat Eddie Rohr, Rebel Storm, and Diego Valens. Diego Valens is a guy who I've gone back and forth with for years. I beat him for the world championship, and he's if you're talking about the MPW National Championship, you're talking about me or you're talking about Diego Valens because he's held it the most times, I think, and has always finds his way back to it. So if Diego wanted to come after me again, thinks that he's earned a spot, he's welcome to try to climb that mountain again. I don't think I've ever wrestled Maximilian Montclair one-on-one before. So he could try. He's a former champion as well. He could try his hat at it. It's tough to say. You know who I would really like to wrestle, and who I think is a new guy that's a stud. You've watched the show, Jake Redondo.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's pretty. That guy is. He just won this big cup last night, this big tournament at the Primal show, and I watched it and I went, okay, well he's got something going. So if there's somewhere in the line where I have some leeway, maybe that guy, maybe that kid would be a good.
And recently, he recently went 5 minutes with the champ. But this was back several weeks ago. But I could see that he is a young guy.
Again, I don't make the decisions on who goes where. All I do is show up, make the people show up, and I leave, and they leave happy.
Well, I can tell you this: I am not the only one who sees the line between confidence and arrogance. Wendy herself, and you take this as from the fan of fans when it comes to Millennium Pro. It may sound arrogant, but Brandon always backs it up, which gives and gave him the right to be called the ace of MPW.
That is the truth. That is, and that's what it is people like to make jokes and say that I call myself that, but I don't. That came from the fan. The fan started saying that to me, and I just went along with it because it's true.
Why deny it?
Why deny it? Why is acting nice and being everybody's best friend is not the path for me, because when I did that, I got a lot of heartache from people who I thought were my friends. People you think like have your back, and then you find out like, oh well, no, like you have this thing that I want, or it's really because of these things you can give me. That's the only reason I really want to be around you. And I don't have any room in my life for people who are like that. And I don't, and if I act this way around you, and whether that's people on a show or people in the local area, it's because I don't like you or I don't respect you, and therefore I don't want to be around you.
I-
You know who I'm really nice to? My daughter and my wife. I love them. And so they get nice to me. They get pleasant. I love Wendy. Wendy's great. All the fans at MPW, I take care of them. I give them something to do on a Friday night. When the world is now so crazy and it's too expensive to do anything in the Los Angeles area, you can come to MPW for $15. And you get to come see the best show in town. Movies are too expensive to go to now.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's arrogance and there's being honest, and that's just what it is. I tell it like it is, and people are like, Brendan said this or that, like I did. So tell everybody that I said it.
Question from chat, from your brother. What about your brother? Does he fall into
What about
that? Does he fall into the nice Brendan, or the I don't like you Brendan?
I mean, yeah, of course he does. I love Danny to death. I mean, I'm a little bit perturbed that when we go to Primal, we're on the same page. But NPW is a little bit shaky. He was distracted before we had our match with the Unguided. We should have won those tag titles, bar none, but he was thinking about other things, and we had one heated moment, and everybody kind of made it bigger than it was. And I wanted him to win the national title because I thought he deserved it, and I thought that he would have been good. But now I got to pick up the pieces. So we are good. I just think he should be looking to raise his stock a little bit better elsewhere on the show than to be dealing with me. You know what I mean? I have my back.
Let me ask you this though: if you do pick up that national championship, I mean, what's to stop maybe a Brothers Divine versus Brothers Divine for the national championship?
I don't think Danny owes me, man. Is Danny was the MPW champion for like a year, and I had his back for a whole year, and I did everything he needed me to do, and so he knows, there's
He
there's
needs
gonna
to
be no
repay the
conflict.
favor. He needs to repay the favor.
No conflict between us. It just doesn't. People always want that, right? We've done this dance before, Danny and I. They want us to fight and everything like that, and this is not how we do it, right? Brothers get heated. You got family? You got siblings?
I do, yes, sir. I'm well aware.
There you go. Did you always get along?
No, and some of I don't get
No.
along with
So
today.
it can be as simple as that. So if
But-
Danny can, I'll leave it at this. I love Danny. I'll always love Danny, but he knows what the deal is.
Mm-hmm. Listen, Danny's working on.
He's on there.
He's working
He's
on
on the show.
He's working on.
He's trying to be the Uncle of the Year.
Yes, he's working on Uncle of the Year status. That's
Oh, see,
we're gonna get him a shirt made.
trying to get a rise. It's all good. It's all for fun.
We're gonna get him a shirt that says Danny Devine, Uncle of the Year. Yes, 100%.
Put his lion on it or whatever.
Yes. See, this is the creative process. This is why I love it.
I'm making money now with shirts, and I do this.
With the landscape of professional wrestling on the independent scene. I tell everybody it's on fire everywhere. I firmly believe it. I think that it's only going to get better as we continue to move forward and continue to press on. With the scene where it's at right now, if you could get out there, and I'm not saying that you want to get out there and do that, I'm saying if you could get out there, what are some places, some companies that you wouldn't mind getting out there and doing some business with?
It's tough because there's so many big independent shows that I don't even know about, really, because it's become a lot less of a interconnected scene as it was about 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago, it felt like here are the 6 indies that everybody like is really into that like use as many people as they can. And that really, to me, has sort of fallen off. And it's fallen off not because it's a bad thing, but because of like a GCW has really upped its stock and has really gotten good at the travel game.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like that has become kind of this really high profile indie that has like encompassed all the other ones. So now it's kind of a level of what's going to come up next. The next like connection ones. I know that so Danny and I have done Prestige up in Portland before. And that's a really, really, really great show. And the promoter is great, and they have a connection with another West Coast indie, West Coast pro, and they have one in the Midwest, I think. I don't remember. Deadlock, I think, is what it's called.
Yep.
And they have a connection like that. Yeah, and you know, I've done both Prestige and West Coast, and they're both great shows, and I know a ton of guys who do them. I know both the promoters; they're both great guys. But like I see that success of that like interconnectivity and things like that, and I like it a lot. And I would definitely work for those shows again, probably only as a tag team situation because that's really where my heart is. And if I was ever going to be successful in an outside area of wrestling, I'd want it to be that because the act that is the Brothers Divine as a tag team is something that I think is sorely missing on the independents because I think that there is like definitely like I think that the AEW and I think that WWE both have just great tag teams to use. It's just whether or not they're given the time of day. And it's tough with a show that's 2 hours once a week. I get it. But every indie tag team that I see nowadays, with the exceptions of a few, all kind of have the same shtick. Really fast moving spots, and they're really exciting, and that's kind of the substance to it. There are definitely exceptions, like, you know, one of my favorite tag team in the world right now, I love the Midnight Heat. They're out of Prestige. I used to wrestle with them at Championship Wrestling Hollywood. Ricky, Eddie, those two those guys are great. We wrestled them in Prestige, and they owe us another one. So, so like I love those guys. Danny and I got to wrestle TNA Sinner and Saint in a 6-way tag. But those two are stellar. They're the team that everybody's trying to be like, I think. They really got that Motor City Machine Guns mixed with like the modern kick your ass style, and they've perfected it, I think. And it's like the total opposite of what Danny and I do.
I'm sold.
So I think that we would have
shut up and take my money's what I say. If we get an opportunity to see the Brothers Divine and Sinner and Saint, come on with it.
When we met up with them, putting it together was really fun, and like that's still one of there's a local show here called Rival Pro Wrestling, and we've only done the show once. But when we did it, we were the main event with them and another team called the Suavecitos, and we just had this killer match. And like a 3-way tag match, you've been in wrestling, that is a nightmare. Nobody's like, oh, I can't wait for my 3-way tag team match. But like we all had the same mentality of like this is going to still be rocking and moving, but it's gonna make perfect sense. And like it did, and like I saw it back and I was like, it did, and I love it. This is a long-winded way of not answering your question, and I feel bad because I've lost it. But to answer your question in a full way, I love those teams and I love those guys mixing up things like that. But my focus is really to build MPW.
Yep.
And to make it this place that is sought after in every capacity. So, and we've gotten a lot of success from traveling around and doing stuff like that, and people knowing who we are. But like in the world today, there's videos of everything, and there's photos out there, and like the idea of back in the day was that you wrestled on the indies to get seen, to get eyes on you, and like the internet exists, and so like they can see you. People do know you exist and things like that. So I think there's a new level of, if you just put out consistently good work, that will catch eyes, that will be seen, and people are so afraid of putting in that grind and putting in that effort to make something what it is. It's like, well, like it didn't happen in a year, so it's over, and it's like that is such a backwards way of looking at anything you do ever. If you like what you do and you believe in it and you put your heart into it and you put everything you have into it, it will pay off in some way, whether it's financially, with clout or whatever you want to say, or just with, I mean, the fact that you are on this call and you messaged me and wanted to talk to me about it, to me proves that what we're doing is working.
1,000%.
And that's, you're not going to get that from most people. They're going to be like, oh, I want to wrestle this guy and this place and yada, yada, yada. And I go, I've wrestled a lot of people and I've done a lot of cool things, and I've wrestled with some of the best people in the world and some of the worst people in the world. And what I think is the best option for us of building something and making it a success is making it work where we are.
No, I appreciate that answer too. First and foremost, yeah, it was there. Your brother's very much the same way. Very much in line with that about making MPW what it is. So outside of Brandon Devine becoming the national champion, how do we make that happen? What's the next layers to, in your eyes, on growing MPW? Because listen, if it pulled me on one show, and one show pulled my channel too, more importantly. So, like I said, it's always about more than just me and what I'm doing. There's a channel here. There's hundreds upon thousands of people who cruise through here on a monthly basis. There are people on, and I, not trying to, pat myself on the back or flex or anything of that nature. We're seeing about 500,000 people on across in a month's time, between all social media, between YouTube. It's fucking wild. And that's why I say, like, it's to see the growth and what the next level of that's going to be for you guys, and how
it's something. And this is going to be patting you on the back for sure. And it's because I just saw this like video, like it came across my Instagram, and I sent it to Danny in particular because he's like, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about. He goes, do good work, but advertise, because otherwise your good work isn't going to get seen by anybody. Don't be afraid and don't be embarrassed to put your thing out there, because if you don't, no one will see it. And maybe no one will see it if you put it out there, but they definitely won't if you don't. And you guys posted this interview like all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's the next level that we've found, is like we're starting to get a lot better at advertising and putting ourselves out there, and like postering, and having students of the school are postering, we're out postering, we're putting things all over social media. We have a subreddit now. We whenever someone is like, hey, can you do a podcast about MPW? I say yes every time. Danny will always say yes, because the goal is widespread. Now, social media, I'm sure you've seen this, social media is not particularly friendly towards wrestling. They're kind of like, I get all my videos always get like flagged, and they're like, this is too violent. And I go, it's not. It's not violent. It's not. But fighting through that is, and that side of it is that's the work. that I always tell people. I go, what's the hard part of working? It's like, well, the wrestling part is the fun part. The hard part is the working out. The hard part is working on like your promos. The hard part is advertising your shows. And every person I really interact with, they don't get that. They go, you tag them in a poster, they'll share it, but like they won't do an extra thing for it. They won't be like, okay, well, I'm going to do this and this that adds to this. They go, well, someone else will do that for the show. I'm just on the show. And it's like, anytime I'm on a show, I go, what is the next thing I can do? What can I add to this that's going to take it to the next level?
Mm-hmm.
And you see the guys who do that. And you see the guys who really put in that extra push on the independents because they're the ones who are really, making waves. Someone who I'm seeing right now that's killing it is Fuego del Sol. Just lost his mask, and now he's got the new name. And I've only interacted with Fuego on like social media, and like I think we met once on a show, but he puts everything out there and is making so much content of all this different stuff and pushing his thing out there, and it works. It's working, and it's exciting, and you're always kind of like, oh, what's he doing now, or what's this or that. But we just do it with an entire show and push it off that way. And it's taking it to the next level, I think, is just keep on the grind, keep it going, try to get as much interest as you can to get as much eyes on it as you can, because the more eyes on it, the more interest there is with it, the more that it expands. But also knowing when to not push certain buttons, because we have had a couple different wrestling streaming services ask about it, and they've been like, hey, like, we have this and this show on our streaming service, you guys can do it, like, we can toss you some money here and there, and I blah 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 blah. And every time that's come up, we've been like, no,
fuck that. Put it on your own YouTube page. Stream it.
And here's the thing, though, is I'm big. The streaming services are great because I have them. I can find all these indie shows I want, but in my brain, I go, 10,000 people are subscribed to this channel. There's 1 billion people on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And it's free, and there's 1 billion of them.
Yep.
Every video you make is a lottery ticket. Right?
Thanks.
Every piece of content you put out there is a lottery ticket. I know I have a viral video that I did years ago now, but I did a video that got like 1 million views and all this stuff, and people still comment on it to this day. And it's like 4 years old. But like every video is a lottery ticket. And in wrestling, all you need is one good year. You have one good year, and things just pile up, and they go crazy, and they explode. And if you can maybe never get to that point, you can never get to that explosion year, and you can just ride off into the sunset whenever you can, but you never will know if you stop. So if you keep going, maybe something will happen, maybe it won't. All you can do is try your hardest and try your best and make the most out of what you have.
That is exactly what we do here with this platform here. I started this platform because someone told me hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube on independent wrestling would not happen. I told them to fuck off, hold my beer. We're about 100. We're about 115 away at this point. It's taken 2 years.
Wow.
But we're about 115 away. And at this point, like I had one of my guys ask me the other day, "What are we gonna do when we hit 1,000?" Go for 2? I don't know. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm not here for views. I'm not here for clicks. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do this whether somebody watches it or they don't, because I'm genuinely interested. Not only am I interested in professional wrestling, I'm interested in learning about what's going on everywhere, because there are hidden gems, literally in every piece of the world. There's hidden talent everywhere. Stumbling into MPW, I stumbled into you. I stumbled into your brother. I stumbled into Bucio. I really digging this Antonio Rivers kid. I have seen God, what is her name? Oh man.
Our show?
Who?
On our show?
Yes.
You're thinking? Nina?
I missed that. What was that?
Nina.
That's it. Nina. Like
She's the only one.
there's so many, but there's so many pieces of talent that's just right there. I mean, it's tremendous to see. Uh, I say all that, again, when we do these, it's totally organic. I don't script questions really that much. I have three that I preface and I tell you guys about before we come on the air. But for the most part, it's just sitting here and we're talking and having a good time. These questions I ask is as we start winding things down. I always genuinely ask these questions. I love to know the answers specifically to this first one. Once you give me the answer to the question, I'm gonna tell you why I asked it and why that doesn't sound fair. It is, and you'll see.
Yeah, you know what? It's your show.
All right, I got you. Who should we be watching? And what I mean by that is, guys and girls with your area, or you've been in the ring with, or they have made a positive impression on you that we should be taking a peek at.
Right away, is I'll go with people who have made a real serious impact on me for sure. That are not necessarily super duper like from MPW people. The first two I'll say is Damian Drake and Matt Vandergrift, the unguided singles tag. The two of them are the best wrestlers that I've ever wrestled against. They are stellar at their talking points. There's no one better who in the ring, understanding what they do, just what they provide to any show that they're on, and not to mention just being easy guys to work with. The two of them are, and Matt's a big New Japan guy right now, and he's been doing stuff with them. And Drake is just he needs one eyeball away from exploding all over the place, just because of how good they are and how much they provide to a show. And the next one I'll sing the praises as long as I live is J2 Mattioli, the main guy down in San Diego, just because we semi broke in with J2. He was a little bit after we had started. He jumped in, but what he has been able to do with the Primal Pro Wrestling, with just what he does at MPW with us, and just the amount of people that are drawn to him, and what all the adversity he's faced in his life and in wrestling and not wrestling, all this stuff, and just what he doesn't stop. He just goes and goes and goes. And the thing that you forget, because he does all this other stuff, but like when he's in the ring, he's dynamite. He can have a 30-minute Iron Man just nonstop, engaging the whole time, or he can be in the sprint opener, and he's just this unique hybrid of like old school WWE mixed with like a very old school like New Japan style or like All Japan style, and the only thing he was missing for a while was his promos, and then he came to MPW, and then his promos were just excellent, and it was so engaging the way that his acting and everything has played into it. So, like, more people should seek out J2 Mattioli, because he really is a once in a generation, I think, really. So if I got to put over guys, I'm going to put over those three guys. I put over every person at Millennium, of course. Maximum Montclair, Biggie Rose, Danny and I, Dustin Daniels, Bucio, all those guys are just great, but I'm going to go around with the people who are technically not homegrown MPW guys who I like, and it's the unguided Matt Vandergrift, Damian Drake, J2 Mattioli. Final answer.
Yeah, man, I'm here for it. I asked that question because our platform's strictly independent wrestling. Literally, that's all we do, and we do 25 to 30 hours over the week, whether it's live or whether it's a tape or whatever we're doing at the time. The only way that can continue to happen is if we can get some recommendations from you guys, because you know where all those diamonds in the rough are in your area, just wrestling exploding everywhere. So what happens next is the names that I'm not familiar with, and there's a couple that you gave me, hit our spreadsheets, and at some point we're going to be circling around doing a show on them. Will be whether
Right.
it's a spotlight, whether it's an inside the Indies, whether it's a show watch, doesn't matter. We'll get something out there so that we can see what they have going on. It's a beautiful thing about fucking professional wrestling. You can bring people together if you let it. You just got to be open
There you go.
to stepping outside your comfort zone. You just don't know what all's there. The next question that I've got for you, this is one that is, it's a little, a fun skis question. Everybody may have dream matches. Maybe you don't. I don't know. If you had the opportunity to tangle with anybody, we'll do this as a two-parter for you.
Two-parter.
As a singles, and then as a tag with the Brothers Divine. Who would you want to get in the ring with? You could get in the ring with anybody.
As a tag, I got to be honest. I've already said it. I think that I would love to wrestle Sinner and Saint again. I think it's a very strong possibility as well. Just because I think that our styles would mesh very, very well together, and it would be a very, very interesting matchup and a very, very intriguing just series of matches as well. Because I can foresee it as two styles that. Danny and I's style it can be overwhelming as when you wrestle us, you're pretty much going to wrestle how we wrestle. But they're also like that, where it's like when you see them wrestling, it's like, okay, well now this team they're wrestling is just wrestling how they do. So when you have those two styles that are so firm and that's the style of match you have and they kind of collide, you wonder what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say that the Sinner and Saint is definitely our dream for just a regular tag match because I think it would be really good. I think we could do a lot of really, really cool stuff and be really, really interesting builds and big blow-offs and payoffs. But that's the thing too is dream matches for me is what about a dream program? That's more what I'm kind of looking for.
There you go.
There you go. Is one and dones are never really that fun for me anymore. It's got to be whether it's a big thing to put somebody over or a big thing to put me over. There's got to be something to it. And then singles is so tough. I don't know. I don't know if I have any more dream matches really.
You may not. You know what I mean? It's just some guys. They have 20. Some people they don't have any. I mean, I just want to get in the ring and wrestle.
I'm gonna shoot for the stars. I want to wrestle Seth Rollins.
We're calling out the architect, right? I'm here for it.
He's the best wrestler in the world right now in the ring, I think. I think he's untouchable. I think that the way that he presents himself and the way that he blends his character into his wrestling and the way that he can put things... Yeah, the architect is exactly correct. And when you study so much wrestling and you kind of go, all right, who am I watching? Who's wrestling in a way that's not making me go, all right, well, I can skip this one. And it's always Seth Rollins. Because they'll do the same things, but it's never, ever the same way. That's so hard to do in a business that's a lot of do your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You do your stuff in a way that's unrecognizable to most. So there it is.
Seth Rollins.
Call Triple H. Get him down here. Can you do MPW?
We'll see.
Can't pay him. He's too expensive.
We'll see if we can get a date on him. Let's see what we can do to make that happen.
I'm so bad with dream matches. I don't know.
Listen,
my dream match is Harley Race. Bring him back.
Don't tease me. It's a good time. Let's get in a DeLorean and go back in time. What? Okay. Harley Race is a dream match. What genre of Harley Race are we talking here? Are we talking late 70s? Are we talking early to mid 80s? Talking late 80s?
With me, I watched a lot of, today, as I send back all sorts. On Instagram, I send reels back and forth with Tyler Bateman all the time about these just old school Japan matches or those hard hitting 80s style matches.
Yep.
And I just the simplicity yet complex nature of how those matches go. Makes me just go, I'd like to wrestle like this. because as much as I love the new style and I love putting together things and weaving a piece of art together, there's nothing better than it's only happened to me a couple times where I show up to a show and a guy will go, "You want to just go in there and do it?" And I go, "Yeah, I would like to just go in there and do it," and then just do it because nobody can do that anymore. That's a very rare skill that some guys have, and I do have it. I love calling it out there. I love just throwing it together. Because kids, I find it unbelievable. I mean, don't be wrong. Most times, that's not what's going on. But like, if you can,
brother, that's how I
leave it.
learned. That's how I
You know,
learned.
and most guys, that's that style of learning is long gone.
That's all
I've seen it.
That is all I know. Listen, so this is such a pill, but I've not told anybody the story. Not even members of my team know this. This is a total exclusive. I
Look at
was.
me. This is my show now. Let me ask you some questions about you.
I had a company that hit me up and was like, they wanted me to come and do something. And listen, I am 43 years old. I am about 75 pounds overweight. I have not stepped in a ring since 2005. I don't even own a pair of boots right now, and I don't think that that's in the equation for me. But what I can do is this. I can come down and shoot these series of things with your guy to want to do some kind of cross promotional stuff.
Sure.
As long as I don't want to give too much of it away because it may very likely happen. But long story short, I may be doing something here in the very near future.
Do it. Why would you?
Well, I have a lot of things going on, brother. A lot, and traveling to Orlando.
Oh, so you got like
I mean, I'm in
long drive.
I'm in Gainesville, so it's an hour and a half either way.
Oh, okay, it's not so bad.
We're getting ready to. I say some of that to say this. We're getting ready to start making some trips. We're getting ready to start coming to see some of the guys and some of the companies. And I told you before we came on the air, I'll tell you this as we get ready to go off the air here in just a few minutes, guys. If you have any questions, last minute, now's your opportunity to get them in. I'm making a trip coming out to see you guys. I believe Danny told me the September show is possibly the next
anniversary show is in September. I have the date. Okay, hold on. September. If I get it wrong, Danny will be mad. It's either the 12th or the 5th. It's probably the 5th.
I feel like the 5th is ringing out to me because I've already done some looking up. Yeah, I'm going to come out to the anniversary show. I'm going to take a flight. September the 5th. He's called it.
Well,
so it is confirmed.
Let me tell you, it's going to be our biggest and best one yet, for sure.
I'm really looking forward to being out there. I told Wendy that I got to sit next to her. So whatever we have to do to make that happen, I need to experience
we'll
the
make
show.
time for you.
What's that?
CCP Podcast right here. This is his seat.
I greatly appreciate you taking the time to come down and sit down and chat with me, man. And I know that with these conversations, I tell you guys all the time, we just scratch the surface with them. I do that intentionally because I don't like short-term anything. I like long-term relationships. I like building relationships. I like to sit down and have these conversations in the hopes that someday you want to come back and talk to me again.
Of course, great time. Fastest hour of my life.
I know. I tell it's the fastest 60 minutes, and usually we do shoot a little longer. We have today. I need to get with Danny and get with you to see if you guys when we're going to come on to watch the full Summerfest show because I still want to make that happen. If you guys got time and availability for me, we can sit down.
Here's the time. We'll work it out.
We'll look at a calendar, man. I've got all of your social media and your pro wrestling tees on the screen. I always turn the floor over to you on the way out. What do you have going on? What do you want to plug outside of Tune In Friday, guys? Your new MPW National Heavyweight Champion has got some words for it.
That's right. With me, it's just support the MPW YouTube. Check me out on Instagram at Brendan_Divine. There's an MPW TikTok now. As Brendan Divine has a TikTok as well. You can use those. If you're not on that, good, stay off it. Terrible app. I hate it, but it helps. If you're a big Reddit person, MPW has a subreddit now where we post the shows and updates and videos and things like that. If you're not a big social media person in that regard, so you can check out that. I don't remember the name of it. I think it's just MPW Wrestling, but I can look right now really fast. Oh, I'm terrible. It is MPW _wrestling. So if you're big into that, you can check that out. And then, Danny and I are now the Primal Pro Tag Team Champions. So you can check out Primal Pro Wrestling. They do live streams every other week, 2 shows a month. Check them out. Be up on that. And then just MPW every single Friday. Don't miss it. Check us out on Instagram. All sorts of fun updates. And we have great video editors. Been doing a lot of video edits recently, making us feel like we're being important like we are. So just check out all those things and tell your friends, suggest them, tell them about this podcast. Be like, we need more. The guys in the UK, that's great. Tell everyone who you know who likes wrestling. And if they don't like wrestling, let's say they like drama, tense drama. That's also what we are. We're both. We're a soap opera with fighting.
And it's actually cool. I appreciate it, man. Guys, the easiest way that you can support independent wrestling is by sharing, and subscribing. Mr. Divine, it's been on the screen the entire show. Brendan _Divine1 over on Instagram. That's the only handle I have up for you, bud. But we'll get the other ones linked down below.
I'm not an X guy. I think X is lame, so I don't have that one.
No, don't be sorry. It's a necessary evil right now. ProWrestlingTees.com /Brandon Divine if you want to pick up a t-shirt and show your support. And again, you can catch him every other week with Primal Pro right now as part of the Brothers Divine. Every Friday with Millennium Pro Wrestling. Millennium Pro Wrestling shows drop every Monday on the YouTube page. That too will be linked down below. This has been a pleasure, sir. Again, I'm very grateful for the time.
Really, really great time.
I'm glad you did, and we would definitely circle around and do this again. We appreciate each and every one of you who showed up here today in droves. I hope you guys had a blast, had a good time. For my guest today, one half of the Primal Pro Tag Team Champions and your future Millennium Pro Wrestling National Champion, Mr. Brandon Divine.
He's calling it right now, everybody.
I am Chris Page. We will see you next time.